Greetings and welcome into the Commissioner's Chat of the South Carolina High School League. It is our first installment for the 24-25 season. I am Romanda Noble Watson, the Director of Communications and Public Relations here at the South Carolina High School League, and I have the esteemed pleasure of welcoming in Dr. Jerome Singleton, who is the Commissioner of the South Carolina High School League. Welcome in.
Thank you so much. It's always a pleasure to come here and interview with you.
All right, I'm glad to have you in. This is our first time doing this for this year, and so we just want to touch on a couple of different topics throughout the year. We're about a month into our athletic seasons, and so I thought this would be a better time than any to pull you in and have a little chat and to give everyone an idea of what we've been doing over the past 3-4 months since we last had our commissioners chat. So we're going to start it out. One thing that we always do at the beginning of the academic year is have classification meetings. And so those wrapped up a little earlier this month. So can you tell us what's some of the things that you all discuss during those meetings?
Sure. We have that meeting every year at the beginning of the year. We've got 5 classifications. We ask all the principals and the athletic directors come, and we have a meeting where they can take care of their classification business, but it also serves as an opportunity for the South Carolina High School League staff to share any changes that have occurred over the previous year.
Okay.
Some of the things that are discussed are constitution and bylaw changes, anything that's new, we speak to that. We also speak to provisos that legislators will have some involvement. We also speak to goals that the executive committee has put in place. So there's many things that we talk about, and we always cap it off or make sure keep as a reminder, student first, athletic second, sportsmanship being a major part of that.
Got it. Now you spoke about talking about the provisos that the legislature had put into place. Can you tell our audience exactly what are some of those provisos and how do they affect the South Carolina High School League?
So while the South Carolina High School League is a 501c3 nonprofit entity, it's not state-owned. Most of the schools that are members of South Carolina High School are state-supported schools. All of our high schools, with the exception of some private schools that are members. So as part of the state legislature's involvement, they have to approve the budget for the State Department of Education. So the money that comes from the budget goes to our state-supported schools. So they have the ability to put some provisos in order for the budget to be approved. Here are some provisos that needs to be in place for those schools that receive funding. This year there's 3 that has been added from the many that have been in there before. One being if an athlete is ejected or a program is sanctioned, they have an opportunity to appeal, and if they appeal, there is no sanction can be in place until all appeals have been heard.
Okay.
Then you can enforce the sanctions if no relief is given.
So let me ask you this. So meaning that someone comes before the executive committee to appeal a sanction, a suspension, a fine, or something of that nature, and the executive committee upholds that.
Right.
They have a choice to carry it to the appellate panel.
That's correct.
I mean, it is their choice if they choose to do it or they don't choose to do it. So if they choose to go to the appellate panel, then that suspension will have to be, it's as if the suspension didn't happen until after the appellate panel here. Is that a good analogy of?
Well, the suspension becomes pending.
Okay.
Until we get an outcome. So if a contest occurs prior to the executive committee meeting, they have the authority or the ability to play those contests until a meeting is heard.
Gotcha.
So whether it's the appellate panel or the executive committee, until all appeals that they would seek, because they have the choice whether to go all the way to the end, all appeals are heard, then all those sanctions are stayed.
Gotcha.
The problem with what we have is if the decision that was originally made is upheld and you played an athlete while waiting, then what happens is all those are remedied. So if an ineligible played, then those contests will have to be forfeited. It would be the same as the school was playing an ineligible. Now, if the sanction is turned over, then nothing was lost.
Nothing was lost. Okay, got it. All right, so it's their choice of how they want to handle it. If they want to play I'm just using student athlete, of course. They want to play that player, waiting to hear the outcome of the appeals, or they just say, let's just hold tight and let's hear the outcome before we play you to not fall into the situation of possibly having to forfeit those games.
The goal is
Okay.
to try to get it heard prior to any contest being played, or
Okay.
at least prior to multiple contests being played,
Got you. Okay.
so that we could have that put behind you. We
Okay.
don't want to be holding them hostage to not being able to play when there was an opportunity or a decision that may have been made to allow them to play.
Okay.
So that's the goal, but that's not always accomplishable very quickly, depending on the sport and how often they play during their season.
Okay.
That creates a challenge for us. But that's a proviso that has that in place.
Okay.
The league rule already spells out what the penalty is
Mm-hmm.
for violations, whether it be unsportsmanlike behavior or a sanction that is placed on the school.
Okay.
That's proviso one.
Okay, that's what I was gonna lead to. I know you mentioned there were 3, so I was gonna ask you to elaborate on the other 2 as well.
The other one speaks in terms of what happens when a school cancels a contest against another school that they had scheduled.
Okay.
Well, the proviso puts in place that there needs to be a form of fine or some type of compensation
Mm-hmm.
for the school that may be involved.
Okay.
Because they chose not to play, the other school had you on the schedule to play, whether it's through a contract or on a schedule, then if you do cancel, if either one cancels out, the other school is entitled to some type of compensation.
Okay.
While they recognize it as a fine, only the league can fine, and fines go to the league, but the league can choose to do with the funds or the fine as they so choose.
Okay.
I think the expectation is that those funds help to offset some of the costs or the loss of revenue that the school that wanted to play may
Gotcha.
have missed out on.
All right, so that's 2. You have the proviso involving the cancellation of games, the one involving sanctions. And so what's the third
The
proviso?
third has to do with private school students that are not that are not attending a private school that's a member of the South Carolina High School League.
Okay.
Currently, the South Carolina High School League has 4 private schools,
Mm-hmm.
called independent schools.
Okay.
Well, with that, if a student is attending a private school or independent school that's not a member of the South Carolina High School League, then that student is eligible to play back at the public school in the attendance zone of which he or she lives.
Okay.
Now, provided the school in grades 9 through 12
Mm-hmm.
enrollment count is 200 or less,
Okay.
and that the school does not offer the sport in which the student wishes to play.
So they can't just say, "Oh, I live in this this zone, so I want to play here." They have to meet all of those standards
That's
before
correct.
they can even
That's
say
correct.
if they want to play there.
That's correct.
Oh, okay. So those are 3 provisos to give our viewers a better understanding of how the legislative plays a part in the South Carolina High School League. Now, earlier when we started, we talked about the classification meetings.
Sure.
So one thing we touched on last year was the 2 divisions of classification 5. How does that break down? Now we have now we're in the season, and I know that won't happen until we get to the playoff piece of things. But how does that look as far as classification 5 is concerned?
So this is our first year of a new realignment. Every 2 years we realign schools, and we
Okay.
divide the schools numerically down into different classifications. I said earlier there was 5 classifications.
Right.
Well, this year with the 5th classification, which is our largest classification, the number of schools in that class is much more than it has been in the past. So a decision was made by the classification to offer 2 divisions in that class. So what that basically means is half of the schools, when it comes to playoff time, will play in the upper division, and the other half will play in the lower division. That's
Okay.
why we've got the 2 different divisions. So while we offer a state championship in each class, in the 5A class, because of the larger number of schools, there will be 2 state championships offered in that class, one a Division 1 and a Division 2.
Oh, okay. So that gives a better understanding. Now, one of the things that we often do here is this: we add things as the years go on. So last year we added a commissioner's chat,
Yes.
and we did on I think 1 or maybe 2 occasions we had other people other than commissioner come and sit down and have a conversation with me. So this year what we decided to do was change the name. And I know that I think I sprung this on you all of a sudden, but I'm going to share with you again as I share with everyone who's watching. It's going to be called Commissioner's Chat and Beyond. So the reason being is we want to be able to bring in other individuals, not just commissioner to sit down and talk. We have so much, it's so many things that go on in the South Carolina High School League. Commissioner, and I like to tease him all the time. He probably forgotten more than I even know. But we do have our associate commissioners. We have our director of educational services. We have our director of health, safety, and wellness. We have numerous of people who do different things here. So just wanted to bring it out to everyone who watches Commissioner's Chat, that it will be called Commissioner's Chat and Beyond, to give those individuals a chance to speak out and for everyone to hear.
And there's just so many staff members that we have that have an expertise that
Correct.
can really do a deep dive into their areas. So I think it's best that they have the chance to share that type of information. As you said earlier, well, I'm the commissioner, I'm the face, and I recognize that. But there's so much work being done by those behind the scene, and I think it's an opportunity for them to share and for the public, the general public, to know that these people really work at what they're doing and they're the expert in their field. We've got deputy commissioners, we've got associate commissioners, we've got directors, we've got coordinators. I mean, all those groups are there and they bring something to the table. So I can appreciate the new title of Commissioner's Chat and Beyond, because it does go beyond just the commissioner. And again, while I'm the face, and I understand the responsibility that comes with that, I have a high respect for all those in the office that work in the job that they do. So I think it's only fitting that they have an opportunity to actually share what they do.
Right, and so that people know that, it's a collective effort here at the South Carolina High School League. We work well together, and we actually try to put out the best product, and the best way we know how to do that is by working well together. Well, Commissioner, I appreciate you coming in with me. Is there anything that I may have missed to ask you or pick your brain about that you want to share?
Never want to miss the opportunity to talk about sportsmanship. That's the staple of the South Carolina High School League. While the contests are being played and we have winners and we have losers, we offer state championships. Some people attain scholarships from that. Some of them actually goes to the pros. The whole issue of offering athletics in the high school space is to be an educational experience. And sportsmanship is a big part of that. Lessons can be learned through sports that you can learn nowhere else. We've got to remember that sportsmanship is an extension of the classroom. Athletics is an extension of the classroom. And if we do that, and everybody plays their role, and adults behave as adults.
Absolutely.
And the athletes be models for others that are around them. And spectators respect the behavior of the adult and the athlete. I think we put together a great package where our student athletes can come out, or just student in general can come out and walk away with something that would be very meaningful to them.
I think that is definitely a great statement for us to close on. We have a hashtag that we've been using for the past year and a half, hashtag bench bad behavior. I think that is key, and that is encompassed of everything you just spoke about with sportsmanship. Before we go, I do want to mention that we're coming up on championship season. Our first official championship will be held October 15th, 17th, and 19th. That is our swim championships, which will be held at the University of South Carolina Natatorium. You can visit the website www.SCHSL.org to find out all the information in reference to that championship. Commissioner, thank you for coming in and spending a couple of minutes, maybe 15 or so, I guess, with me, and I look forward to doing this again with you.
Always a pleasure, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you, and I am Romanda Noble Watson, the Director of Communications, and I will see you next time when we have the Commissioner's Chat and Beyond. Have a good day.